The Beatles, Vietnam. Bob Dylan sang like a rolling stone. Casey Stengel retired, and Sandy Koufax pitched a perfect game. Tom and Jerry began delighting kids on Saturday mornings. The Pillsbury Doughboy was born. The Gateway Arch in St. Louis was completed. Winston Churchill, Nat King Cole, Edward R. Murrow, and Malcolm X died. All those things happened in 1965. That September, a young journalist moved his family north from New Orleans to Natchitoches just in time. Days later, Hurricane Betsy struck the Crescent City. A fierce blow that went unmatched until Katrina passed through. Jerry Pierce came home to Northwestern State and put down roots that run deep in the history of our university and this area. Rest assured, he's had a guiding hand in shaping the NSU that we know and love, and a good portion of what we treasure about Natchitoches.
You know, Jerry is he's almost as iconic on this campus as the three columns. You know, so much of our business is about telling the story, and Northwestern has benefited for 5 decades from the best storyteller in the business, in Jerry Pierce. He's the epitome of what a public relations, of what an external affairs person should be. He loves Northwestern, and it's evident in the way that he works every day, in the way that he represents us out in the public.
For many years, Jerry was well known around the state as a Louisiana version of his favorite comedians, Bob Hope and Johnny Carson. Nobody was a more entertaining or sought-after master of ceremonies. You left any program he steered with sore ribs from laughter. His impact on campus is somewhat reflected in bricks and mortar, which requires state funding. Jerry's behind-the-curtain work, lobbying, and managing that process has been critical to NSU for decades.
To give a perspective on Jerry Pierce's 50 years at Northwestern, since 1884, there have been 19 presidents of Northwestern. Jerry has worked under 7 of them, starting with John Kaiser in 1965, then Arnold Kilpatrick, Rene Bienvenu, Joe Orsi, Bobby Alost, Randy Webb, and now Jim Henderson. That is a remarkable record, a true survivor.
That $23 million Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame museum downtown? The Hall of Fame wouldn't be here, wouldn't be anywhere, without the 19 years that he spent bringing it from a broom closet in Shreveport to an annual first-class event that was, and still is, nationally admired. He's mentored students, as a journalism instructor and otherwise. He's had a more broad influence on dozens of administrators and staff, not only in managing his areas of responsibility, but in helping define a gentle, caring, concerned approach to the people he's encountered and overseen.
In my role, when I had the opportunity to work alongside Mr. Pierce, was the foundation, was alumni, was the development, and he oversaw 2 of the largest campaigns as far as fundraisers that we've had at Northwestern State University. He was behind that. So in so many ways has he brought great things to Northwestern State University through fundraising, through money, but also for the state of Louisiana with the Louisiana Hall of Fame.
Steel Magnolias? The movie, filming here, which permanently transformed our community more than a quarter century ago, could not have happened without him. That's a fact. His deep friendships with iconic local leaders like Donnie Kelly, Jimmy Long, Norm Fletcher, and Joe Sampete, along with Natchitoches Times publisher Lovan Thomas, have paid huge dividends for NSU and Natchitoches. Jerry's handiwork is all over. His name is not, by his own design. What he will tell you is what he owes Northwestern State for providing him an opportunity to get a college degree when it otherwise wouldn't have been possible for a boy of modest means from the paper mill town of Spring Hill, and for keeping him gainfully employed for many years, and keeping him in shape, whether it was badminton, tennis, or walking and bicycling. He's made a routine of it. He's a long-time exercise addict. If you want to stop him on a dime, trot out a family pet, his or yours, or a little kid or a baby. His grandkids? Absolutely. Time stands still then, so it does too, around the love of his life, Regina.
Dad's association with Northwestern really created a fantastic way for our family to grow up. You know, we saw ball games, concerts, cultural events, things that really were unique for such a small town.
I think that when you really love something, it's reflected in your work and your family and your life. And I think 50 years speaks for itself, and how much he loves NSU. And I think how he loves the town and the school is also reflected in his life.
I think one of my fondest memories growing up and visiting Natchitoches was going to Northwestern and just all the activities you could do. I mean, as a kid, you know, the sky's the limit when you have a college campus essentially to yourself with your grandfather.
You cannot go anywhere without meeting somebody that he knows that is affiliated with Northwestern. We have been in Branson, Missouri, Asheville, North Carolina, Gulf Shores, Alabama, and he'll get up and walk clear across the restaurant, hug somebody's neck, come back to the table and say, oh yeah, they went to Northwestern from this time to this time and they were this major and he played football or he was a coach or he was a GA. It all comes back to Northwestern.
He is certainly a valuable asset to this university. And I look forward to doing the same thing again at year 60.
So it's been 50 years now for our hero at Northwestern State. He didn't plan it that way. His heart brought him back from a great job in an emerging major American city in the mid-60s. Now, his hometown is the best small town in the South. Coincidence? Not entirely. What we take for granted looking around are so many things Jerry Pierce had a hand in developing. So for 50 years and counting, grin and bear it. We'll check with you Monday.
Who's your best friend?
Poppy.
And what's Poppy's real name?
Jerry.
Jerry what?
Jerry Pierce.
Jerry Pierce. And where does Poppy work?
At the Coliseum.
At the Coliseum? And what do you like to go do at the Coliseum? What do you like to do with the Coliseum?
Go play.
Go play with who?
Poppy.
With Poppy?